I guess the man starts looking around for money but left when a customer walks in. So deputies get this report and they spot the pair driving in this red pickup truck. They tried using those stop sticks and the man, I guess, tried to hit a deputy with the truck. Then they keep going. As he continues down the road, the man apparently pops up through the sunroof of the truck and he's holding a rifle in one hand and a Busch Light beer in the other. Well, he smashes the beer bottle against his forehead, but the deputy who is following them thinks that he has just used this rifle to shoot at the deputies in front of him, and the deputy behind him then shot him. But really all it was the crash of the beer bottle against this guy's head.
I think it's a legitimate shooting. I think, because remember, the way you define a legitimate shooting, a defensible shooting is what was reasonable in the cop's mind.
And the cop claims he could not see the beer bottle.
And if that's true, and he hears, there's a rifle, here's what sounds like a gunshot wound, or a gunshot, I think it's legitimate. If it sounded like a gunshot, and they'll be talking to other cops and immediately said, what they do when the investigation comes out, they immediately separate all the police officers that were there and take statements. It's very different than it used to be. So if this is true, I think it's going to be justifiable.
Authorities got almost $3 million of methamphetamine cleverly disguised as onions. They were inspecting a load of onions, and they found over 1,300 pounds of meth. What they had done is taken the meth, put them in these small globe shapes with a white covering, so they would, they hoped, blend in with the onions.
And now, the question is, you got a canine dog, or a canine officer, if you will, a dog, the drug sniffing dog, who came out there and through the onion smell, I guess was able to smell the narcotics. Yeah.
I mean, they're trained to filter out everything that isn't the drug they're looking for.
Which is wild, because you would think an onion would have such a
Wouldn't you think so?
smell.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Maybe the dog started crying and didn't smell anything. That's good for the dog.
All right, big news for Coda last night at the SAG Awards. It won the Best Ensemble, and then also Coda. So before, Marlee Matlin was the only deaf actress who had ever won an award, and I know Bill, you'll say, here's another one. But this is a male deaf actor who won last night. And so that was kind of a big upset. Coda, I don't think, was supposed to win this, but it did. And so you also had Ted Lasso, Squid Game, the cast of Squid Game won big, Will Smith for King Richard, he also won, so kind of a lot of surprises last night.
We're members of SAG. Why don't we ever get invited to this?
You're invited to vote. They send you all the videos.
You can vote, and you can get all the screeners.
Didn't you get all the
I got nothing.
DVD? Really?
I get nothing.
Did you pay your dues?
No.
That's the problem.
Ooh. Okay, there you are.
I'm going to be continuing education to the bar. You didn't pay your SAG dues.
I know.
That's how it works, though. And then they send you endless DVDs in the mail.
Oh my God!
It never. Now it'll stop because the awards have happened, right?
Yes.
I assume we're done getting those packages.
But you're supposed to vote. You're supposed to watch the videos, and you're supposed to vote.
Now, if you don't vote, you're still allowed to watch the videos?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
Works the same way it works in America. You don't have to vote to watch the movies. They claim, let's see, it's not quite 10 o'clock back east, so I assume they either have just sat down or will sit down any moment at the negotiating table, or actually at two separate tables, because Major League Baseball negotiations are happening where the owner side is in one area and the player side is in another area, and people are shuttling back and forth to deliver information. They cannot seem to resolve this player lockout, and they don't really seem to be even close to a resolution. And the league has said, today's a deadline. If you guys don't have a deal today, we're going to start canceling regular season games. And you will not get paid, players, and you will never see those games again. We're not going to reschedule them.
The last big strike, I mean, it lasted well into the season, didn't it? I mean, the season was truncated, and I think a third of the games were lost. I mean, this goes back a bunch of years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
94, 95.
Yeah, and Steve Garvey wasn't first baseman of the the Dodgers. Wasn't he heavily involved in the negotiations, if memory serves? And if memory doesn't serve, he wasn't.
There's so much more to these lockouts because if you think of the city revenues that are hurt by this, look at spring training, what it's doing in Scottsdale and things like that. The cities rely on this money, and that's not happening right now. I know I'd love to get Scott tickets to Braves game in Atlanta, but no way am I going to buy tickets because you don't know when the season's going to happen. So it's no matter what your team is or where you're going, and season ticket holders look forward to this.
Hey, the spring training, do they now charge for spectators to come into spring training? Because it used to be not.
Yeah, I think they do, don't they? I think you have to buy I think it's nominal.
So what is the city? So what kind of money? Is it just the ball players?
Oh, what do you mean?
In terms of the money, the financial...
Oh, it's millions of dollars.
To like Scottsdale or Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've got all this, you got the players and the coach and all the staff, you got all these people descending on the location. You have fans that come in. Maybe they only come in for the day, but they come in, maybe they eat at a restaurant, they fill up their tank in Scottsdale instead of where they normally do.
I don't know how...
Jane Wells said it was millions of dollars. She just did a story on it for CNBC. And now you've had them lose spring training, years in a row? 3 years in a row? And finally, you had 11 kids and an adult who underwent a do-over. Because remember that priest who said, instead of we baptize, instead of I baptize? Well, he had to baptize some more people over the weekend. And so he poured the holy water over the heads of dozens of people. One of the girls, she was baptized in 2009, and she's now 13, had to go back and do it again.
What happens if you're not officially baptized and you die? You know, I think you go to purgatory or something. And
I
you
think
camp
God
out there.
gives you a pass if you try.
I'm glad to hear that. What's going on with the Ukraine? Aaron Katersky, ABC News correspondent, is there in Lviv. Will be talking to us in just a moment. This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
First, the facts, then what it all means. The 24-hour KFI newsroom is on it.
KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's the latest news on the invasion of Russia. On the invasion of Ukraine. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Talks have started between Ukraine and Russia. The meeting's being held on the border of Ukraine and Belarus. Ukraine says the talks are focused on agreeing to an immediate ceasefire and withdrawal of Russian forces. They invaded last week. Former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Mick Mulroy says most military analysts now expect Russia would have advanced further into Ukraine.
Ukrainian officials say that Russia will never be able to destroy Ukraine's dream of a strong, free, and democratic European state. A direct response to the news came in a tweet from the airplane company that built the plane. The company said that it could not verify the technical condition of the aircraft until it had been inspected by experts. The plane, powered by 6 turbofan engines, identified as a AN-225, was the only ever built by the Ukrainian-based airplane company, which came up with the design. It first took flight in 1988 and has been in service ever since. Andrew Caravella, KFI News.
The plane had been parked in an airfield just outside Ukraine's capital. The United Nations Refugee Agency says more than 500,000 people have left Ukraine. The country's population is about 44 million. A data breach has hit the State Bar of California. A website published confidential information of about 260,000 attorney discipline cases in California and in other jurisdictions. The information has been posted online and has since been taken down. One of the heroes of the mass fatal shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks has been killed in a motorcycle crash. Matt Wennerstrom saved the lives of dozens of people during the shooting in 2018. He died Saturday night in Newberry Park. We're looking at the number of people in hospitals in LA County because of COVID-19. That number's dropped lower than 1,000 for the first time since December. The number of people in a hospital in the county with COVID was more than 4,800 at one point last month due to the highly contagious Omicron variant of the virus. Also, the number of COVID-positive patients in hospitals in Orange County is down. That's to about 250. Today marks the 25th anniversary of the shootout in North Hollywood between 2 bank robbers and police. It lasted almost 45 minutes. The bank robbers had automatic weapons and fired thousands of rounds. They both got killed. And a ticket for Michael Jordan's first game as a Chicago Bull has sold for $468,000. The man whose ticket was auctioned off over the weekend went to the game on October 26, 1984. He had 2 tickets waiting for him at will call, but only ended up using one, and he kept the other as a memento. We'll check your drive on the 10, but first it's sports with Wayne.
Amid boos and jeers from their own fans, the Lakers fell to the New Orleans Pelicans by a score of 123-95. LeBron James says it's not going to get any easier.
We got a tough stretch with Dallas. Clippers again Thursday, then Golden State on Saturday. So, and we still got 10 road games of March. So it don't get easier for us.
The Clippers snuck by the Houston Rockets 99-98. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
Refinancing your home is a big decision. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. Right now, it makes a lot of sense. What happens to it when inflation hits? Interest rates go up. And number one, we're in the middle of inflation, and we know rates are going to go up because the Fed has said interest rates are going to go up, and soon. So while interest rates, mortgage rates are still historically low, I would argue today or soon, jumping on refinancing your home for the ridiculously low interest rates that still are there. And I'm going to suggest HMS Capital, the only lender I know that recommends you apply with other lenders at the same time. They are that confident they get you the best deal. Call 833-255-5698, 833-255-5698. I've done 2 mortgages with them, so I have no problem recommending them. 833-255-5698. Visit hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital Funding is a DBA of Goldman and Finance, NMLS ID number 2427. HMS Capital is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 4130360. Equal housing lender.
Checking your KFI financial report, the Dow is down 389, S&P is down 37, NASDAQ has dropped 50, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.83. Your SoCal weather from KFI, sunny and warm today with highs in the 70s at the beaches, low to mid 80s inland. More of the same for tomorrow, a couple of degrees cooler on Wednesday, then we'll drop back into cooler conditions, be in the 60s by Thursday. Right now, it is 65 in Orange, 51 in Pacific Palisades. Let's get a look at that drive on the 10.
Oh boy, busy spot, that's for sure. Driving the westbound 10 now from the 57 out towards the 605. That's basically belongs to the Baldwin Park. It's really, really slow. We flew over the whole thing, so just be prepared. Just kind of a slow drive. The West 60, by the way, 57, 605 is in much better shape, but it's tough getting there. We were circling over this for a while, right in the middle of the merge. West 60 South 57 at Grand, fast lane was blocked. The 57 back up Temple, the 60 from the 71, so tough driving there. East LA interchange, we just flew over that. Things are looking a little better, but the West 60 is definitely slow coming away from the 710. There was a problem right in the middle of the interchange. And we're headed now for a problem that's reported south 101 in Alvarado. I know it's real slow already coming down from Sunset Boulevard, so a lot more on that coming up. Kind of a busy morning out here. I would leave a little early if I were you, if you're still at home. Jeff Barr, KFI in the sky.
Brought to you by Life Source Water. Taste and feel the difference.
Did you order?
300 double cheeseburger meals, please.
Maybe instead of going to the drive-thru to feed the entire construction crew every day, you should just order through EasyCater. Food arrives on time and as ordered.
Oh, yeah?
Also, you'll stop taking out our drive-thru speaker with your backhoe.
What?
Look out for that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but EasyCater just does. Food for work, on time, and as ordered from over 82,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Yeah, that was me, sorry.
Did you know your old Ivy concrete can actually earn you money? It can during the System Pavers free demolition event. Call 800-PAVE-004 or visit systempavers.com to learn more right now.
All orders must be placed by March 31st. See website for full details. Contractor's license 661-575.
Okay, real quick. Best thing about SolarMax technology.
Easy. Tons of money that I've saved.
So don't miss out.
Yeah, SolarMax has the new Tesla 420-watt panel package for $79.96 a month and zero down.
Call pound 250 and say keyword SolarMax.
Monthly payment available on food credit. CSOB number 97204.
Accident, waiting to be, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob. KFI.
More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
KFI, AM 640, Bill Handel here. It is a Monday, February 28th. Some of the big stories that we are covering is, of course, Ukraine is the biggest story of all. We're going to talk to Aaron Katersky in just a few moments as he will join us. But the information that I'm going to give you right now, Ukrainian-Russian delegations are meeting right there on the border between Ukraine and Belarus. Started about 4 hours ago, and as President Zelensky of Ukraine said, they're going to go no place because Zelensky is demanding that Russians immediately withdraw its troops, and Russia is saying that Ukraine will never join NATO, and they're throwing accusations at each other with Putin being ridiculous. U.S. Embassy in Moscow said, Americans, get out of Dodge. On the good front is the number of COVID-positive patients in L.A. County has fallen below 1,000 for the first time, so it's moving pretty quickly. And tomorrow is the State of the Union address, and we'll talk a little bit more about Joe Biden later on. Just really difficult. That's at 7:30. They're going to be working on the State of the Union literally till the last minute. So what's going on before Aaron Katersky shows up? We're getting reports from Ukraine as to what's happening. It looks like Ukrainians are holding up. They're putting up their resistance far greater than the West, certainly than Russia anticipated. And the number of civilians that are lining up to defend against the Russian forces is just astronomical. Zelensky said no male between the age of 18 and 60 is even allowed to leave the country, and all citizens in that category who want arms to defend are able to get them. They're just handing out this weaponry, and I don't think Russia had any idea this was going to happen or was going to be this difficult. I also don't think Putin had any ideas to the extent of the sanctions that are going to go against him. So why would he do this? Maybe he took Crimea, what happened to Crimea when Russia annexed Crimea, where the world basically did nothing. Well, this time the world is doing plenty. And the argument that Putin is saying, he's out of his mind. It's so outrageous what he is declaring in his statements that everybody is shaking their head. It starts with we are going to denazify Ukraine because it is full of Nazis, and the government is what it's doing is it's killing the citizens, Ukrainian citizens of the eastern provinces, the separatist provinces. Although Putin wouldn't recognize that they're Ukrainian citizens because, as you know, during his hour-long speech last week, announcing that he effectively was going to invade or bring up defensive forces, is that Ukraine doesn't exist as a country, is illegitimate, was always part of Russia, and one of his reasons is, well, he didn't even bring the reason for fighting. It was simply to defend those pro-Russian separatists in those two provinces that are now declared countries as far as Russia is concerned. The denazification, Ukraine is full of Nazis, and the genocide that is going on. All right, so now the other reasons that are being put forth is, look at the arms that are coming in Ukraine. The West is pouring military weaponry into Ukraine to fight the Russians. And here we are, as Russia, simply defending ourselves against the arming of Ukraine by the West. Wouldn't any country defend themselves when on the opposite side this huge amount of military hardware is coming in? So it's simply defensive. It ain't our fault. And back to stopping the genocide, and he just came up with another reason, and that is that Ukrainians are using their own citizens as human shields as against the Russians. And so war crimes are being committed by Ukraine, and therefore one of the reasons that the Russians have attacked Ukraine and grabbed all the cities is because they're trying to stop the genocide and stop the war crimes that are being committed. I mean, it is so outrageous, it is beyond credulity. Also, Putin is arguing that the only fighting that's taking place is in the Donbass region, which is that eastern region where the separatists actually live and have declared themselves independent country. And it's only to protect those people is why we're doing this. In the meantime, pointing out that it's virtually every major city in Ukraine is being attacked. Somehow that doesn't connect, does it? It really doesn't. So, the peace talks started about 4 hours ago. Zelensky said there is virtually no chance that anything will come out of it, but he doesn't want to ever be accused of not going that extra mile. And that's exactly what's going on right now. In the meantime, fighting continues. Also keep in mind that Russian forces, there are still a third of the Russian forces that have not yet invaded Ukraine. So out of the 150,000 Russians, military personnel that have been on that border, about 100,000 have entered Ukraine. Keeping a third of the Army in reserve is no small deal. And even though the resistance to the Russians is extraordinary, beating everybody's expectations, there is no chance. Kyiv is virtually surrounded, and then the end game is going to be what? So what does Russia do? Establishes a puppet government. Overwhelmingly, there will be, quote, elections to overthrow the government peacefully, and install a new government. And if they capture Zelensky, I'm willing to bet he will be tried as a traitor. I mean, this thing is not going away anytime soon. So, where is Zelensky beating Putin? And I mean, just cleaning his clock in the public relations battle. And I'll share that with you coming up. In the meantime, what's the latest, Jennifer, with Ukraine?
Here is the latest news on the invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine is demanding a ceasefire on this fifth day of fighting a Russian attack. Officials from both countries are meeting this hour to try and talk for peace. Russia's attack on Ukraine is starting to fuel a surge in gas prices. The AAA puts today's national average at $3.61 a gallon, but in California, we are now up to $4.83 a gallon. And security is ramping up for President Biden's State of the Union address tomorrow. Police have installed a fence around the Capitol, and streets are being shut down. Your SoCal weather from KFI. It's a sunny, warm day ahead with highs in the 70s at the beaches to the low 80s inland. This report is brought to you by Blindster. Let's look at that drive on the 101.
You betcha. The Hollywood section of the good old 101 Freeway Service Patrol, or CHP, we could... Oh, that's funny. Just as I said that, here comes a Freeway Service Patrol truck, I think, is down there. But anyway, southbound 101 to Alvarado, before you get to 4 level, there's been a stall sitting in the second lane from the left and really creating problems. I'm not sure who that is trying to help out Freeway Service Patrol. Maybe somebody in a pickup, but regardless, the backup is Sunset Boulevard. Now, if you're still in the San Fernando Valley, using the South 5 instead, using 134 South 5, it's not exactly terrific. It's really slow coming down from Los Feliz, so I'll leave that to you. And real quick, we're going to check on something in West L.A. South 405 at Wilshire Boulevard. Do not go away. Jeff, KFI in the sky.
You know, if you are selling your house, one of the things you look for is curb appeal, right? You're trying to make